Hey, what's going on, Parliament? It's Luke with Owls. Surprise, surprise. It's Luke with another episode of Owls TV. Today, we're going to be focusing on a couple of things. Crypto and cannabis. If you don't know about cryptocurrency right now, or maybe you're of an older generation, or you just haven't looked into it, or you just say, oh, that's stuff, woo-woo stuff, or whatever, don't really understand it, I would urge each and every one of you to delve a little bit deeper into cryptocurrency. That's not going to be the point of this show today. I'm not going to go into it too deeply. I will give you just a brief synopsis on it, and then I want to talk to you about how that sort of relates back to what we want to. We want to implement more options for cryptocurrency, and so I just wanted to sort of do a quick chat about it and listen to some of your feedback. So, first things first. Cryptocurrency came, specifically Bitcoin, started after the 2008 crash when effectively the banks completely abused all their power and crashed the market. And that was, again, just abuse of power, simple as that. From there, the main issues that occurred was, well, hey, we've got all this centralized power, and if that's abused, then we, the people, suffer. So Bitcoin effectively came out as a decentralized payment network that deals with, right now, if I want to do like, hey, I want to send money from here to you, we have to use a third payment. It's like A to B to C. And let's just get rid of the B, right? The big B is the big bad banks. And so basically, Bitcoin came to light and now has grown from something where people talk to her, oh, it's used for illegal stuff, it's got no use, what's its value, to now it's like worth over $45,000. And so as this begins to get more and more or more widely accepted, it is something where I would urge each and every one of you to get on board sooner rather than later. Just to give you some perspective right now, where Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is at 3% adoption. We're effectively in like 2001 of the tech boom when it started. So you can either choose to be an early adopter, or you can choose to say, well, hey, I'm going to wait for this to suddenly materialize into something that is definitely safe. And by then, there's not really going to be a lot of meat left on the bone. So why do I say this? Well, for any of you who are either working on minimum wage, if you work just hourly, you need to be investing your money. It's as simple as that. And if you're not investing your money, your buying power is effectively being robbed from you at a rate of around 20% a year. And the reason that is because the federal government in the United States does this thing called quantitative easing. Quantitative easing is a fancy term for basically saying we print more money. And I'll never forget when I was younger, when all this recession and stuff was originally happening. I didn't do economics or anything like that, but I remember talking to some of my friends, and I said, why don't they just print more money? And they laughed at me, how ridiculous that was you can't just print more money. Well, turns out that the American government did just that, and when you print more money, you effectively dilute the buying power of people who hold cash. So the rate of inflation right now is so high that you're losing money by holding it in cash. So we, the people, really need to have an opportunity to hedge against us having cash. Putting it in the bank is worthless. It's worthless. You may think you have safety, but at the end of the day, the bank can keep your money. When the money is in the bank, if the bank says you can't have that money, that's tough shit. Other ways to hedge against this would be to have gold. But gold is heavy. You have to have protection for it. And if you wanted to move it, you'd have to get, it's a hell of a lot of work. And if you had a good amount of money, you're not going to be bringing around a backpack of gold, right? It's just not happening. So Bitcoin is effectively a better version of digital gold. And for people who say like, well, hey, what's this backed by? Well, it's backed by the fact that people utilize it. It's a store of value. People use it as a method of exchange, and we, the people, have given it that value. It wouldn't raise in value if people weren't buying it. And so it works off supply and demand. Where there's a limited supply of Bitcoin, there's 21 million total Bitcoins. More can't be printed. That's the thing with the dollar. It's just, it used to be set against the gold standard, so it actually had value. And it was like, hey, well, for every dollar we've got these gold coins or blocks or whatever it is. And what do you know? They removed that standard and basically said, hey, we're just going to print more money. And so now what we're seeing is the stock market is going to an all-time high. Why? Is it because it's somehow better? All these companies are just somehow like better? No. What it is that the people who are in the know that the S&P 500, for instance, will appreciate at a rate of 10%, and that is beating inflation. So everyone just who has cash, who knows what to do, puts their cash into either the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, or real estate, or it's or cryptocurrency. So the amount of hoops we've had to jump through in order to get payment processing, to get approval by banks, is just like out of this world. And so we want to make sure that we are giving options for those who choose to use cryptocurrency, and it's important that everyone gets brought up to speed. So Bitcoin is effectively held in what's called a digital wallet. A digital wallet is a series of letters and numbers that you have a password to that would have a number in there, and it can be divisible by 8 decimal places. So you could have 1 Bitcoin, or by the time my kids grow up, it will be like, how the hell did you even have a coin? Because this is going to be worth $1 million. That's my belief. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think so. Main reasons behind that is we can just look at the market cap. Gold has a market cap of $7 trillion. Now, if Bitcoin was to reach the same market cap of $7 trillion, we know how many Bitcoin there are. Each coin would have to be $350,000. You can call it $250,000 to $350,000. So right now it's at 40. I believe that Bitcoin is far better than gold. And just in terms of like, hey, can I send gold back to Ireland? No. I can send Bitcoin back to Ireland like that. And so this is look at Bitcoin and cryptocurrency as what the internet did for freedom of information. Cryptocurrency is going to do the same thing to the financial services industry. So we're getting a huge upgrade. And the last thing that I'll say on it before I relate it back to Owls is that there's this, so first we had Bitcoin, right? And then we had these others. Ethereum was the next one. And Ethereum picked up on a lot of issues or challenges that Bitcoin faces, and basically provided it as the in for all of these other cryptocurrencies to base their cryptocurrencies off that network, which is called Ethereum. And now there is another program which is called DeFi. And DeFi is probably one of the most exciting things that I believe is going to offer. It is going to take away a lot of power from the banks and is going to redistribute that across crypto. What do I mean by that? Well, why do we use a bank? Well, a bank is supposed to keep us safe. It's supposed to keep our money safe. We know that that's not true. We know that the banks are often manipulating the markets. I mean, the banks were fined for, laundering money, and they put a hell of a lot of restrictions on our purchases and everything that we do. So the only reason we use them is because of the fact that they're there. and we can't actually do business or send or utilize our money digitally without the use of a bank. So they hold the power over us. Now, cryptocurrency releases us from that, but it still runs into the issue of, well, hey, if I need to use dollars, I can't. My Bitcoin is sort of useless if I'm in a dollar market, right? So DeFi came out, and what DeFi is effectively, look at it like this. Bitcoin has a value. It's simple. Hey, this Bitcoin here is worth $45,000. You can look it up on the market. It's worth $45,000. Well, okay, well, I want some cash. I need some cash right now. And rather than me spending my coins and exchanging them back to dollars and going through that whole process, what I can do now is I can get a loan against my Bitcoin and receive dollars, and I don't need a bank to do it. So so over here there's a company called Celsius. It has their own coin. I have Bitcoin over here. I go to Celsius and I go, hey, I got these coins here. I'd like to get some dollars. And they go, okay, well, here's a low interest loan. If you give us, let's just say for this argument's sake that one Bitcoin was worth $100,000. Well, so let's say you've Bitcoin, or let's even say you have cash and you wanted to spend your cash. What you do is you'd buy the Bitcoin and then you would take a loan out against your Bitcoin on the dollars that you would pay back a low interest loan. I have a friend recently, so they basically got a loan, so they had to put down 4 times the amount because they went for the lowest interest rate. But it ended up being that within 3 days, not like, hey, I've got a house, you want to come out, somebody inspects it, what's the value? Maybe the guy's having a tough day, it's raining out, he gives you a poor value on your property. Or you've even been reading the fact of some people with their skin color have been getting lower values on their properties. And so let's just take all that crap out, and instead we just have this value over here that's called Bitcoin, and it's worth $50,000. Okay, cool. Well, if you give us your Bitcoin over here, we're going to give you, let's say this is $50,000, and we give this $50,000 over here. Well, they're going to say, well, hey, we'll give you $35,000 on the loan. It's a 1-year loan, and it's a 1% back. And then if Bitcoin is appreciating, just like you do it with a house, right? My house is going to appreciate. You got to pay back the loan, then you unlock your coins. Why do I need a bank now? Just let that sink in. Why do you need to use a bank anymore? And the answer is you don't. You don't. And so this is the new age that is coming in about and I get the look at this. I know you can see the hairs are coming up. The hairs are coming up on the hands. I mean, ugh. Tell you, gives me the feel. It's like I know how that is, you know, and the hair stands up. It's like you get a jolt of energy from something behind the scenes. It's like you're on it. But so now I'm doing more and more research into how I can incorporate this into our purchases. And the more that we can integrate this, it comes back to all of you having more education about it. So please do your research on it. If you are somebody that is feeling like you cannot get ahead, the reason you can't get ahead is because you don't invest your money. And if you don't invest your money and you just spend your money and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you are going to live a very miserable, tough life. Because what's happening now, it's completely unfair, by the way. It's completely unfair. But the American government is effectively printing so much money that if you actually look at the minimum wage right now and you take into account the rate of inflation, like we're at an all-time low actually for minimum wage. If you account for rate of inflation, we're at like $7.25. It's actually gone down since the minimum wage was I think it's like $8.25 or $8.50 in the last 3 years. Because of so much money has been printed, that figure is actually more like $7.25. So it's literally impossible for you if you're wondering, like, everything just keeps getting more expensive and I just keep working and I'm putting in more hours and I'm working 30% more. Like if you look at COVID, right? If you look at COVID and you decided to sit on your ass the whole time, you decided to say, hey, I'm going to invest my money in the stock market or in, property, you would have been hugely paid out on that to the tune of maybe like 30 or 40%. Now, if you were someone, let's say you're a dentist, and you decided to work 30% more to increase your cash flow, you're still underwater. So it's like you need, and look, we have the freedom. You have the freedom here to do the research. If you are upset with your financial situation, go on YouTube, start looking at how can you get better, and start looking at how can you invest your money. I don't even really believe anymore in buying a single family house, because you literally take all of your cash and you put it into a home that you work your whole entire ass off for your whole life, versus having a multifamily where effectively the people pay your rent. So I say this because I care about, I want people to be able to live freely. But in this world that we live in, it is dominated by the fact that you need money, or else you live off the grid, but you know that it's very tough to do. And it's becoming more and more restricted. So it's like, get with the program or get out of the program, which is Bitcoin. And so we are going to be implementing more and more cryptocurrencies that will be available on our site, and we will be giving discounts for them. And I urge each and every one of you to look at what are you doing with your dollars, and if you're just holding them in cash, stop. Or keep a very small amount in cash, but you need to put this into investing, whether you feel more comfortable in the stock market. But again, I'm not going to go down that route. I think you get the point, right? And so the whole thing here is, gang, Parliament, get yourself up to speed. If you are unhappy with your financial situation, start looking at how to be wealthy. How to make money, how to increase your wealth. And there's only a certain amount that you can do by working really hard. You need to start investing or doing something else to have your money work for you, and that is effectively what super rich people do. And I'm certainly not there yet, but I certainly will be there at a point in time. And it's only from this knowledge that I've accumulated that has helped me to be better. And I want each and every one of you to have the same opportunity, because we all have the same opportunity. You can all do the same research. You can all look on YouTube, the internet, whatever it is. And so I really wanted to say that to you, because Bitcoin again now is beginning to take off. And I don't think we're ever going to see, the same people used to say when it was at $100, oh, it's going to crash into the $10,000. And I'll tell you this last thing because I'm talking a lot here. Not a single human being that's ever invested in Bitcoin that held it for 4 years or more has lost money. Ever. So if you were the person who bought it in at the peak at 1,000, right? Or back in the day when I was investing it, when it was at 1,000, it's like, oh my God, I bought it at the all-time high, and now it's at 2. And now it's at 200. Well, guess what? If you held that for 4 years, you were fine, because then the next one came in $20,000, and then people bought in at the top there, and they're like, oh my God, and it dropped. And then guess what? Here we are, it reached $60,000, and we're only at the start of this bull run. So this is going to be heading up to, in my opinion, anywhere from like 100 to 150K this round before it will plummet again, and it goes through these cycles. So that's it, everyone. Be financially responsible. Don't just keep your money in cash, because it's irresponsible at this stage. It's really irresponsible, because the American government doesn't give a crap about you. So, at least on the financial side. So just please, I urge you, do your research, and we'll give you a fat discount for buying with Bitcoin with Owls. Peace. Thanks for watching.